Hi, I'm Reverend Brandon Harris, one of the Protestant chaplains here at Georgetown. In 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 through 13, the prophet Elijah is on the run. He believes that he is utterly alone in the world, that he is the last of the company of prophets who are faithful to God. And so he runs to a cave, and the voice of God tells Elijah to go to the edge of the cave. And suddenly a loud wind comes passing by, but God's voice is not in it. A fire passes by, but God's voice is not in it. An earthquake passes by, but God's voice is not in it. And suddenly there was a silence. And in that silence was a still small voice, the voice of God. There have been what seems like earthquakes and fires and loud winds. The rush of the semester, the change and transition due to COVID-19, the real and legitimate fears and emotions that we carry. But even in all of this, in all of the chaos, how do we attune ourselves to hear the still, small voice of God speak? I see God's voice when I look at my students when I'm teaching via Zoom. Listen for God's voice in the stillness of the morning, in that first breath that you take in. Listen to the voice of God in the flowers that are still blooming, in the soft patter of rain, and a cloud drifting by past your window. Savor the voice of God in that fresh brewed cup of coffee in the morning. Listen to the still small voice of God speaking, not out of our busyness or our rush, not out of the to-do list of things that needs to be done, but in the stillness of being at one place, at one moment, present to that reality which is right there in front of you, that God's voice speaks in the chaos, through stillness, through simplicity, through quiet. It's through the still small voice that we know that God is with us. It is through the simple moments that we know that God's presence sustains us and carries us. Theologian Howard Thurman tells the story as a child that Halley's Comet passed by. And his mother woke him up in the middle of the night and said, "Howard, you have to see this." And so he peered into the night sky, and he looked and watched the comet pass by, and he turned to his mom and said, "Mama, what happens if the comet falls?" And she quietly looked into the sky and finally looked down at Howard and said, "Howard, even if the comet falls, God is with us. It may feel like the comet is falling, but know that God's still small voice still speaks to us each day, reminding us of our belovedness, reminding us that we are known and fully loved, knowing that the power of human community and God's presence throughout time and space and through each day is with us."